Good evening and welcome back to West Ham Irons United. My name is Anton. I'm joined by Matt. Matt, this is our pre-season friendly against Celtic. West Ham are travelling back up to Scotland for the second time this summer, 3 times in the space of 2 years, and we're travelling to Celtic Park to take on Celtic, obviously. Matt, it's our first pre-season preview. I don't think we've done a preview this pre-season yet. But listen, I mean, what's your thoughts so far of the pre-season that we've had so far?
I'm slightly worried because we've played well and got pretty much decent results. You know, somewhat unbeaten on pre-season. I'm sure the last time that happened, we got relegated. I don't think it will happen on the boys, but you know, it's just the back of my head. I'm thinking, oh no, we don't want a particularly clean sweep pre-season.
No, it's funny you say that because I think the last time we won, it was the last time we won every single game was under Avram Grant, mate, and so we then proceeded to go into the next season getting relegated from the league. So, you know, pre-season, we have to take it with a pinch of salt. It is exactly what it's designed to do, get the fitness up of the players and see where they're at, really, to test what they're actually doing. So, listen, without further ado, I mean, there's no point in me and you going on about the opposition when what we like to do when we do these shows is bring on the opposition fan, and we've managed to do it, and he's only a hop, skip and a jump away from me where I live in Scotland. So it's time to talk the opposition. It's time to talk Celtic. Everyone, please welcome Paul from Celtic Fan TV. Paul, how are you doing?
I'm good, Anton. How are you guys? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, really good to have you on. It's nice to have a kind of over-the-border conversation. However, I'm on your side of the border, and Matt's representing the down south side of the border as well. Matt, I think you've frozen. If you have, jump out and jump back in if you can, please, mate. But I don't know if he has or not. Anyway, Paul, just let everyone know about your channel if you don't mind, and we'll get cracking about Celtic.
Aye, so I'm the host of Celtic Fans TV on YouTube. If you want to find it, if you have any interest in Scottish football or Celtic, you can do so on all of the social media platforms at Celtic Fans TV. We've been going about 3 years now, and we're approaching 30,000 subscribers. So if you want to help us get there, go and click subscribe if you can.
Good man, good man. You're making our channel look like a tiny little snippet of the corner of the UK. So, Paul, big changes for Celtic this year. Big changes really for Celtic in general over the last couple of years. But you've got yourselves a new manager. I mean, listen, how the hell do you pronounce his name? And let us know a bit about him, please.
Aye, Ange Postecoglou. It's not as difficult as it first reads. Ange Postecoglou, former Australia manager. They last managed. We got him from Yokohama Marinos in Japan. He won the Asian Cup for Australia. He's won league titles in Australia and in Japan. I think at first Celtic supporters across the board were a bit bemused because they'd never heard of him, but the more we've read and the more we've seen of him since he's taken the job, we're growing more and more enamoured by him. As the days go by, he talks really well, but he's honest enough to say when he's talking well that these are only words and his team will be judged on the pitch. He plays a very expansive, high tempo, risky style of play, an attacking style of play that suits the DNA, if you like, of Celtic. We've got a massive job in our hands rebuilding the squad this summer because we've lost a lot of big players. There's a lot of speculation surrounding some of our key players as well, carrying on for last season. So he's got a massive job in the transfer market to try and bring in players that are going to suit his philosophy and players that are going to be of the quality to handle the pressure cooker that is playing for Celtic at times. But as I say, we're all enthused by what we've seen so far, and I think we're growing cautiously confident that he can really be the right man to take Celtic forward.
One particular man that's on the tip of the tongues, I think, I know you and Matt had a brief conversation beforehand, and he's linked to every club under the sun, is Edouard. Obviously, your striker. I think he played in your last pre-season friendly, but I don't think he's featured a lot really in the pre-season, has he? What's the situation there? I mean, I know he was linked to West Ham for one moment.
Yeah, he is our best player. He is Celtic's best player. There's speculation surrounding him last summer. He's entering the last year. In fact, I think he's now in the last year of his contract, so the speculation isn't going away. He was linked with a move to Leicester to link up with Brendan Rodgers again, but they couldn't agree a fee with Celtic, and Leicester obviously went and signed Patson Daka. I think this morning he was linked with Brighton as well. He's an excellent footballer. He's been absolutely brilliant for Celtic. We did pay £9 million for him. And I think if you go back to last summer, before Celtic had what was an absolute disaster of a season last year, we were talking towards £30 million for him, or looking for towards £30 million. Now in the last year of his contract, as I say, Leicester were talking about 15. I think the rumour and the news this morning about Brighton was 20, maybe 25 million euros, so around about 20 million quid. I think that's the best that we can hope for in the final year of his contract. But I think he's got all the ability to go and play in your league. I think he's far above playing for Brighton. I think he's much, much better than that, and I hope that whenever he does come to leave Celtic, that he goes and shows that.
I mean, I think there's. We obviously do some transfer stories, Paul, about particular players that are linked to us, and Edouard, I think, fits the mould of what David Moyes is looking to do, and it's really interesting to hear. And I know this is not about just him, it is about our pre-season friendly, but while we've got you on, if you don't mind, we will kind of digress into him a little bit. You know, we play with a striker, as you know, Antonio, who's a bit bullish. He goes forward. He's tough to manage for a defender. He's unpredictable. He was never started off his life as a forward, but he is now a forward, of course. Do you see Edouard being that kind of type of fit of player that maybe Moyes could mould into the kind of main target man, the main strong force going forward?
I think his hold-up play is very good, but he's different to Antonio. He's very, very different to Antonio. He likes to drop deep, get on the ball, link the play. As I say, his hold-up play at times in big games for us has been excellent, but he's not, you can tell by looking at him, just his physique compared to Antonio, that they're really different in their build. So I don't know if he's as bullish and maybe direct as Antonio, but I think, I mean, I don't have any qualms in saying that he's probably technically better than Antonio. I know he's worked really well for you guys and scored a lot of goals, but I think Edouard's technical quality, his ability to run at defenders, commit defenders, drift in, he likes to sort of drift out to the left-hand side and then come in on his right foot. Yeah. He's got a lot of quality without knowing how West Ham play and the system inside out. He is different to Antonio, as I say, but again, I'm confident that he could do a job for West Ham. I think he could be as good as he wants to be. That's what I think of him, and that's what I've seen of him in the big games that he's played for Celtic.
So do you think there's an issue there though with his attitude then, and is there something there, or is he kind of gone beyond where he believes he can be? Do you think he thinks further than what's currently happening with the Celtic surroundings?
That's been levelled at a lot of Celtic players recently. I actually seen someone saying yesterday on Twitter that Celtic should want players who aren't comfortable that Celtic is their level, because we want to have players that are of an elite level, that are desired by other clubs, by bigger clubs. The attitude thing is constantly talked about with Edouard. It's talked about with all of our French players. I know that they generally have a demeanour, French players. I don't think his attitude is... I think his head has probably been turned at different times in his Celtic career by the speculation. But I don't think... I mean, a lot of people said last season that his attitude was bad, and he scored more than 20 goals for us. So if that was him, maybe it was head turned, scoring 20-odd goals. You only need to think what he could do if he was fully motivated, if that was the case.
Well, let's not just concentrate on Edouard. Of course, listen, your new manager, I'm not going to pronounce his name, Postecoglou.
Postecoglou, that's the one.
So it's literally how you read it then, isn't it? Literally as it's spelled. he's made a few signings this summer, and I know you've had your first competitive game the other day in the Champions League qualifying. I think you drew, didn't you, in it, and you had a player sent off?
One each, yeah.
Yeah.
10 men apiece, yeah.
So the situation in Scotland, for anyone that doesn't know, Celtic finished second in the league last season. Therefore, they don't enter the Champions League stage straight away. They have to go through how many qualifying rounds to get there?
We have to go through 3. But even if we won the title, as Rangers did, they still have to go through 2.
And is that now down to the fact that you've got different levels of where they kind of force the leagues at? So you've got the English league that's seen they can get 4 places, and what the UEFA classify as a standard of league? Is that how they work it? Because I know once upon a time they used to get automatic qualification.
Yeah, I think it's just based on the national coefficient in Scotland. That has generally slipped down it from the early 2000s. So the past, as I say, Celtic have just came off the back of 9 titles in a row, and there wasn't many of them, if any, if I remember rightly, where we qualified automatically. We've always had to go through qualifiers. Most recently, we've had to do as many as 4, which means you start in the first qualifying round and you don't finish until the playoff.
Yeah.
So it's even more difficult for us this year because we're not in the Champions route. The Champions route is technically easier. Because we finished second, we're up against Midtjylland from Denmark this time around, and if we make it through this stage to the third qualifying round, it's PSV or Galatasaray. So
yeah, it's going to be a tough gig either way.
Increase in quality, yeah, it's going to be so.
But bringing that competitive game though into the kind of pre-season summer, surely that should give a bit of a determination and a bit of fight and a little bit of what does this look like for us going forward? I don't know if that does, and if it does, where does the West Ham pre-season fixture fit in? Do you think there'll be an element of competitiveness? Do you think, it's going to be the first time you're going to have 18,500 fans in the stadium? I don't know if you're getting a chance to go, Paul.
No, I missed ballot. We've had 2 ballots so far, 3 ballots actually, and I've missed them all. So yeah, I'm hoping for the first competitive one. I better be in that one.
So how will it all? How does that all affect the kind of pre-season game? When you've got all these competitive games and you've got a few more fixtures to go before your actual season starts. I
think it's obviously difficult. This friendly in particular being sandwiched in between those 2 Champions League games, which are absolutely massive for Celtic. I don't know what he'll do with the team tomorrow. I think he might mix it up a little bit. Maybe it wouldn't surprise me if he started with somewhere close to what would be full strength, but only maybe gave them the first half and then really changed it up and brought some youth players on. As I say, it won't be a massive priority for us because this is technically the last of our pre-season friendlies before the league campaign starts next week. So I don't know about competitive. I'm sure it will be competitive. I think we'll play in the way that we always do, the way that the manager says that we'll approach every game. But I'm not sure what the lineup will look like. And we've actually had a few injuries already in pre-season. In the first couple of games, we lost Mikey Johnson and Karol Moko-Dembele to injury. So because of the state of the squad, we can't really afford to be losing first team players sandwiched in between those 2 Champions League qualifiers. So I think they'll be wrapped in cotton wool a wee bit.
Is Dembele that young lad who's been at your club for such a long time, and he's got the ability to represent, I believe, Scotland, England. I think he's chosen England as it stands so far. I think he's got the opportunity to represent a few other nations, I believe, as well.
Yeah, I think he's represented England all the way through the youth levels.
Great talent.
Oh, aye, absolutely. He's got all the dribbling ability, all the technical ability in the world. He's very small, which in Scotland people tend to hold against footballers, particularly wide men, because they think that they can maybe be ruffled up or kicked up and down. But he's really impressed me whenever he's played, and he's one of those players who's had so much potential since he was 14 or 15, and there was a point where he had more Instagram followers than Celtic themselves because he was a YouTube sensation. So if he can keep his feet in the ground and work hard, I think he could be a top player. But
who was that American footballer, the young lad who was not a YouTuber? He must have been a media sensation before his time, and then he ended up That's it. I do. Yeah, it's a little bit like, is it a similar vibe? I'm not saying it's like going worldwide, but similar vibe from a young player. etc. Matt, listen, I'm going to throw you under the bus a little bit, mate. How are you feeling about the pre-season game tomorrow in the West Ham perspective? And I'm going to add to that, if any of you have seen the Mark Noble comments on the website, they do have made a big kind of deal about the game. You know, I think this is the first time West Ham have actually played Celtic since the year 2000. And actually, Matt, I'm going to give you the question in a second, but before I do, let's go and see what happened the last time out. Now, I was at that game. I don't know if you were, Paul. I don't know what your age is. And
no, I was only about 6 years old.
So I was at that game. I was in the Celtic end as well. I had my West Ham top on. And when we scored the goal, I did celebrate. But it was obviously a big deal. Paulo Di Canio came back to Celtic Park. And obviously he went on to be a West Ham legend as well. Matt, I think he's having lots of internet problems tonight, I believe. But I will throw that one back to you, Matt, if you can hear me, Matt.
Yeah, I'm here, mate.
Yeah, pre-season, how you feel about the Celtic game?
This is going to be a test to show us probably where we're at. You know, they're going into the Champions League qualifiers. It's about where we finish the season. We're going to be missing a couple of big players, probably still have not come back. Dave obviously really had a lot of ins and outs. It's a friendly, so there's no pressure on. It's just fitness. But I think this will be a test to show where we are at this point. Like, it'll give us a good indicator of how we might do this season because of the level of opposition we're playing.
Yep. I think we're having mega problems there with Matt's connection.
I'm here.
Oh, he's still there. Paul, over to you. A few signings this season, this summer. Do you want to just kind of give us a brief rundown on them all? I'll put some images up for you.
Yeah, Leo Labada, he made his competitive debut the other night against Midtjylland. Scored the opening goal, looked really bright. We really lacked wingers last season because James Forrest was injured and really lack investment in that area of the pitch. So Abada looks like a good recruit. Come in for Israel. I think he's only 19 years old, but he's looked really good. He did have to come off because Beaton got sent off the other night, but he looked great. Yeah. Osaze Urigide, that's maybe one for you, Anton. Came in for Sheffield Wednesday. He looks centre half or right back. He looks raw, really quick, really strong. What I've seen of him in the pre-season friendlies, as I say, he does look raw. Young again for a defender. I think he's only just turned 21, so a bit of potential there, but I think a lot of development to come for him. Liam Shaw as well, another one for Sheffield Wednesday. Played a lot and sit in midfield in pre-season. Reads the game really well, aggressive in the tackle. I think he looks like, again, a lot of potential. A good recruit in that area of the pitch where we need strength and depth after losing Scott Brown, who was here for 14 years.
There's a kind of similarity in terms of, the two clubs I'm currently looking at, if I'm comparing Celtic to a club in the Premier League. And I kind of wonder if that's one of the reasons why Brendan Rodgers ended up kind of going to Leicester, because of the similarity in how the clubs are potentially run. Now, I know that from speaking to some friends, obviously living in Scotland, that there is, I believe, a bit of controversy over the ownership and all that sort of stuff, and I can't dive into it because I don't really know the full story. However, the system, the way it's set up, buying a lot of young talent and selling on for a lot of profit is a completely business sense model. It makes sense. It keeps the club running. It keeps the club ticking over. And the reason why I'm bringing it up, Paul, is Leicester City are managing to do the same thing. They can handle when one of their best players leaves the club for a massive fee. They reinvest that into the whole setup, the whole build-up that belongs at the club, the training facilities, etc. And, then you bring West Ham into the equation, who sign players for 45 million and sell them for 20 million, or sign them for 35 million and sell them for 2 million. What is it about the Celtic model that you like or dislike? And can you see the comparisons to Leicester? And being a Celtic fan, are you disgruntled by the owners? Why I know I've asked you lots of questions there, and I'm very time conscious of the fact that I know you're probably going to be leaving in a couple of minutes. So just kind of give us a brief rundown, if you don't mind, Paul.
I think most Celtic supporters at times have had grievances with the board. We have this thing every season with the Champions League qualifiers where we don't invest, we don't get the right quality in the right positions early enough, and then we don't make the Champions League, and it's like a case of the chicken and the egg. Like, the board have to invest and get the right players in to give us the best chance of making it, but their point of view is that they don't want to invest the money until we've made it, and then you get the cash of making the Champions League, and then you can go and get the players that you want. But the comparison with Leicester, I think that the problem for Celtic is that we've had a lot of success with buying players, developing them and selling. There's lots of great examples. Virgil van Dijk being the most famous one, because we bought him from Holland, and he done real well for us. Sold him to Southampton for 12.5 million, and then a couple of years later he's the best defender in the world, and Liverpool have signed him for 75 million. We've had lots of those examples, even going back to as far as Fraser Foster initially, and Victor Wanyama, who went to Spurs, and Stuart Armstrong now at Southampton. I could go on and on. Moussa Dembele at Lyon. But the problem is, for every one of them, we've had 10 absolute failures. We've spent £1 and £2 million on players who just haven't cut it. And then we've had to do what you've just mentioned West Ham have done there. Even today, a right winger called Marian Shved left the club, who we signed a couple of years ago for around about £2 million. He played less than a handful. I think he only made like 2 competitive appearances for Celtic. And we've sold him today for an undisclosed fee, but it'll be
a lot less than what you paid.
Oh, so much less than what we paid. So we've had a lot of those.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me similar to, is it Raphael Scheidt that you signed once upon a time?
Yeah, I seen him in that VT you made up there, playing against West Ham.
I'll never forget it when I was at school as well, because all these players, all the fan base at the school were all mixed. It was Rangers Celtic, and I was like, he's shite. And he ended up being shite as well, didn't he? So
he was £6 million.
When it comes to the game then tomorrow, I know you're not lucky enough to go to it. I'm currently in isolation. I was working my way, trying to speak to people, see if there was ways and means. I was even going to go to the hotel and see if I could see the players. However, I can't. It's a bit annoying, but that's just the nature of things. When it comes to the game tomorrow, I mean, it's going to be tough to do, but what is your predictions? And do you see it being a bit of a fun game or a competitive game?
I think it could be entertaining. I think a lot of Celtic's play so far in pre-season has been entertaining. We've had spells in pre-season friendlies, though, when you make all of those changes and you bring all the youth players on, and it's a really sort of second string team where the rhythm really goes out of the game. And again, I don't know if that will happen because we've got that big game on Wednesday against Midtjylland. Predictions, we've had a sort of mixed bag in pre-season. We won the first 2 games really comfortably. We did lose to Preston at Celtic Park last weekend. It's hard to say. I don't really know what kind of team yous are going to have out either.
To be honest, I mean, 2-2, what we call a Desmond. So the situation we've got is, we've not got all our players back from the Euros yet. We're missing, I think it's 5 players still, and they're 5 first team. Well, 4 first team players that are missing from the starting lineup, haven't even been involved in pre-season training. We've got a lot of younger players there. I went to see West Ham train in St Andrews recently, and we brought a lot of the youth there, and they've been involved in a lot of the games, but we've been switching up the play dramatically. We've been making 11 substitutions at half-time, and then more substitutions after that as well, just giving as many players as much time as we possibly can. However, if you rewind back slightly by maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, we've still not signed any players yet, and my deadline for that 2 weeks ago was coming to the Celtic game, because I thought, we're 3 weeks away from the English Premier League season starting, and coming up against Celtic would be a good little test for, both the clubs to come in and compete and show the fan base what they're potentially capable of. However, tomorrow's game is going to be a little bit different because West Ham under 23s are playing tonight, and there's several of our players that we thought would have been involved in the squad for the season that have been involved in the game tonight, which means they've not travelled with the squad to Scotland and are going to be involved in the game tomorrow. So we're not really too sure, Matt, are we, when it comes to what players are going to be out in force tomorrow? I think I can see a lot of changes. Do you agree with that, Matt? I mean, do you think there's going to be quite a few changes made in the game?
I thought there'd be more kids in the last game against Reading than he used, but he did have a lot of kids come off the bench.
Yeah.
I think the obvious names are all still out. I think maybe Fabianski is back in training, but the rest of them won't be. And we're light on numbers anyway. You know, we're short numbers as it is.
Yeah.
So I can still imagine a lot of kids getting a run out, whether it's off the bench or from the start.
Yeah.
I think he'll take some of the first team, like we've seen, but I don't think they'll all start. I think he's trying to make sure everyone gets some minutes. That seems to be his most important thing. So I think he'll have a mix. I think both you probably see 4 or 5 changes again at half time, like we did last time.
Yep.
And he'll probably try and mix it, whether that's starters coming off the bench for the second half or kids coming on.
Yeah. Last question, no, Paul, before you go, mate. Okoflex, West Ham signed Okoflex from yourselves. I think there was a little bit of controversy when he was at Celtic. So if you don't mind just giving us a bit of a brief rundown, we've got him. He's featured a couple of times. He's not in the under-23 squad, which makes me think he will have travelled with the squad tonight and will be up in Glasgow as well. So what's your thoughts on Okoflex?
Yeah, another one of those strange signings for us. We've signed a lot of, again, young guys from England. I think he was at Arsenal as a kid, and we brought him in, and I think initially people were maybe a wee bit excited about him, seeing him in reserve football and stuff, but he made a couple of appearances for the first team and didn't really make an impact. I think the controversy was round about doing Instagram lives. He went through a period, I think, during lockdown of doing Instagram lives, and he was inviting just random people into his live stream, and any number of things went wrong, as you can imagine. But I think it maybe strikes me as somebody who needs to like screw his head on and just get back to focusing on football if he's going to make anything of his career. Yeah,
definitely. And West Ham have had plenty of them on our books, players that need to focus. And maybe David Moyes is the right guy. He seems to be capable of getting these players back on the focus mindset and everything. Anyway, listen, Paul, it's been an absolute pleasure, even though Matt's not hardly been involved in this preview tonight.
No,
he's having a lot. It's all the internet connection down south. I mean, look at it. It's terrible. But up here, we've got the best internet connection you can imagine. But listen, Paul, absolute pleasure. It is a pre-season friendly. I just hope the two clubs come out of it unscathed, no injuries, and for the season. For the season ahead, what's your predictions for Celtic?
That's $1 million question, obviously. and Scotland, finishing second is finishing last, so we have to win the title. And to go back to your question earlier, the team that wins the title this season will be in the Champions League group stages automatically next season. So the carrot at the end of this season is absolutely massive. So we've got to go and win the title. And while it's early days, I'm confident that we can do that. I think it will be close this season. We haven't had a close title race for a decade or more. I think this season could be one of the seasons where it's close, but I've got to back Celtic to edge it.
Yeah. Cool. No worries, mate. Listen, Paul, absolute pleasure. I don't know how we can ever do some content together again in the future, but it'd be great if we could. I don't know how. We'll work it out. If West Ham maybe one day qualify for the Champions League, we were only one game away last season, so maybe that's how it would happen again, and maybe we do some more pre-season.
Are you guys friends in Europe this
We're
season,
in Europa League. We're in Europe. Oh, well,
Europa
that's
League.
it. You know,
well,
if you don't make it, yeah, that's
could see you. Yeah,
that's that. We could see you, so we'll maybe try and even catch up, because we up in Scotland don't have Freedom Day yet, like everyone does down in England. Our Freedom Day comes, I believe, on August the 9th. I think we're looking at. So we can't be so flamboyant and out there and doing what we want yet, but it's coming. So yeah, maybe I'll catch you for a beer one day, Paul.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, mate. Take it easy. Thanks for that, mate.
Cheers.
Bye. Cool, isn't it? Again, just having another opposition fan. I've missed it in the previews, man.
I've no idea, mate.
I know you wouldn't, mate. I know you've not been involved, mate. Where have you been? Like
it's
just
not internet problems. It's like some sort of software problem.
Yeah, whatever, mate. Whatever. Listen, Trev, thanks for the donation, mate. He certainly needs it. I don't know what's wrong with his internet connection. There he goes again.
500 meg internet. Yeah.
What is the situation though? I mean, are you connected to the? Are you on the Wi-Fi?
I'm on the Wi-Fi on my phone right now.
Yeah.
It's on the other thing. It's just StreamYard just kept kicking me out, making me re-log in. I don't know.
Yep. Well, listen. I mean,
it was
good to
maybe that helps.
Yeah, good to have a little bit of insight from the opposition. I mean, I know it's a friendly, but I thought it was a good opportunity to bring someone on and get ourselves Freedom Day is a joke. Not missing much, Neil T. I know. I
No, you haven't missed much, mate.
Yeah, no, I know. Listen, to be honest, I said this to people as well. With the way the regulations are up here, even though we are restricted, the only real thing that I'm missing in my life is West Ham. Apart from that, well, West Ham and being able to go on holiday. It's the two big things I'm really missing, which are massive things, I suppose you think about it. But in terms of seeing people, yeah. So, oh, Chib, refund me. I don't donate for software. Matt probably clicked a dodgy site pop up. Yep. You are right. But when it comes to pre-season, Matt, I think tonight West Ham have actually been in action. The under-23s, is that right?
Yes.
What I think there was a big scoreline. Let's have a little look and see.
It'd be interesting to know who played, because obviously we've used a lot of the under-23 players in the squad. So I'm guessing anyone who's played tonight won't be travelling with the squad.
Which is what I did say. So let's see if I can bring that up and we can have a brief discussion and relate that to the situation that West Ham will have tomorrow. I think here we are. Oh, so yeah, it's a good scoreline. Southend United 1, West Ham 5.
Wow.
So I'm going to bring it up for you guys just now, so you can have a see, and we'll go through it together. Why not? Because it makes a little bit of sense. I'm going to see if I can see the starting lineup. So I'll go to the bottom. So in the starting lineup, we had Hedgie in goal, Ashby, Greenledge, Baptiste, Longello, Rosa, a trialist, Ekwa, Chesters, Zhu, Diallo, Nevers. And from what I understand, Nevers got a hat trick. The boy we signed from Reading, Baptiste got a goal, and Zhu got a goal. So the fact that maybe the players that we probably would have potentially have seen tomorrow would have been Baptiste, Ekwa.
It'd probably been them two, I think.
Yeah, probably them two. So I was quite surprised actually Ekwa's been involved in this game tonight. I wonder, is that kind of maybe sign that maybe he won't be? Do you read anything into that?
Yes and no. Because I'm assuming I mean I can't read it from this on my phone. But I'm assuming, did he play the 90 minutes? Was there any subs?
I don't actually know how that works. Let me see it. No, it doesn't say. Oh, it does say, yeah. So he did make the 90 minutes, yeah. He did.
Yeah, so I'm assuming, as I said, he wants legs, doesn't he? He wants match fitness.
Yeah.
So if he couldn't get him 90 minutes tomorrow, he's got him 90 minutes today. I don't think you can read too much into it, because he's been involved in the first team squads, and he's played well. I still think I don't think he'll be a first team player this season. Would he make the bench? He might make the bench for like the Carabao Cup games or something. But he's still only, what is he, 17, 19? Something around there.
Yeah.
So he still needs, at his point in time in his career, he needs to be playing games.
Yeah.
So it's probably more beneficial for him to stay around with the under-23 squad where he's going to be playing this season and get a full 90 minutes and try and get used to them players, rather than go up to Celtic to maybe come off the bench for half an hour. Yeah.
Well, you make it out like you say you go up to Celtic, but I mean it's like
but
I mean it like it's literally an hour and a half from Carlisle. I'm trying to think of the furthest north place that West Ham would play, Newcastle. It's about 2.5 hours from Newcastle. So, it's not really that far, really. When people talk about this, potentially bringing this UK league together, etc. Listen, Jordan, I know you're in the chat and I know you don't like me doing it. So, put your fingers in your ears, because I am going to do it just now. It's not going to take me long, but I am going to do it. I'm going to ask everyone who's in the chat right now to go across and hit those thumbs up. We're only at 29 thumbs up. It does help the algorithm and it does push our channel to more people. And yesterday, thank you to everyone who tunes in. We did hit 7,000 subscribers, so it's much appreciated for that. We've actually trumped that and gone well over it, so keep that coming. If you are watching us, please go and hit that subscribe button. But we are desperate to hit that 100 thumbs up tonight. There's I forgive you, no worries, mate. But please go in and hit the thumbs up. While you remember, it really, really does give us a helping hand for the channel. Our target is 100, so the thumbs up is just literally down there. We've jumped up to 46 in the space of a couple of seconds, so please do it. Thank you, Mickey, as well. Thanks for the congratulations. We will come in to the chat and have a chat with you all. So yeah, we think there's going to be a few players missing tomorrow, but any particular player you're excited to see against Celtic?
The only one I'd need, I think Ben Rama, because I did sort of underrate his performance. I didn't underrate him. I just sort of swept it under the carpet performance against Reading, because it was Reading.
Yeah.
But he did play the number 10 role when he came off the bench. He did play really well. So, and that was like only when he'd been back in training for a week. I'm hoping maybe with a few days more training, he might start in that number 10. You know, don't forget, I mean, if we go on what's happening at the moment, we're not getting Lingard. In which case, Ben Rama
well, hold on a second, mate.
As on things are right now.
Right now, right, okay.
Right
I'll
now.
take that. I'll give you that.
Yeah. In which case, there's a spot open on that starting 11. And this could be Ben Rama's time to shine. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him. And I want to see Coventry again.
Yeah.
Because I think he's probably been the best player on pre-season so far. He looks like, you know, whereas I'd say last year, this was Cullen's opportunity. And I don't think he really took it very well. He didn't look up to standard. I know we've not played exactly high-quality teams, but I mean, Reading finished one place outside the playoffs last season. They finished 7th and had a strong season.
Yeah.
And he looked easily too far comfortable playing against them. So I'm hoping we can see if he has got the ability now to play a better team. Because this is the sort of level we need to play against. You know, that like Paul said, this is, you know, Celtic have won how many years in a row. I know people say, they wouldn't win top 6 in the Premier League, but at the moment they are a Champions League. They're in the Champions League qualifiers. I think if they don't qualify, they drop into Europa League. So they would.
I mean, you've got to be, yeah. And that's the thing, you know. Listen, I've grew up in Scotland, and I haven't watched much of the Scottish football, and it's not a disservice to the team, but you know, when Paul says it as well, when some players leave and go to maybe Championship clubs or League One clubs, it's money. It's what money talks. That's the biggest problem they've got in Scotland, is there's more money to be earned elsewhere. You hear a lot of people, when you live up here, I've got a couple of friends that were ex-professional footballers, and they do say that the biggest regret was they didn't go to the lower leagues of England, because you can last longer and you can earn a lot more money bouncing through the lower leagues of England. Whereas in Scotland, you know, there is that element of that they can sell to make profit. You know, you run the club that way. That's not doing a disservice to the Scottish League. However, what you do have is you've got a stadium that's 65,000 seater stadium,
old stadium
with a loyal fan base. And if they were to move into the Premier League, the thing they become a force because they get backed with money, and then the setup and the trophies they've won, and that's the fear for probably clubs like West Ham and Leicester and clubs that are trying to push and challenge that top 4, that top 5, that top 6.
I think if they got into the Premier League, they would, with the TV money generated, be a bigger force.
Yeah.
The worry I would have is that if Celtic and Rangers up to left the Scottish League, what would that do for Scottish football?
Yeah.
That's just another debate. Like, I think that would, for me, I think that would probably kill Scottish football. I would be up for seeing it. As for players leaving, there is. I remember, I must have been about 2-3 years ago now. I think Adam Rooney was at Hibs or Aberdeen, something like that. One of them sort of teams.
Aberdeen, I think, yeah.
And his contract ran out, and he went down to play like in the National League for Salford because they were paying him more money. Now, he did score the goals to get him up, but you know, he was essentially playing non-league football in England and getting paid more money, obviously because they were backed by the Man United, the class of '96. But he was getting paid more money by them than he was getting paid in the Scottish Premier League.
Yeah,
which does show you somewhat the divide of money between the two leagues.
Yeah.
So. But Celtic and Rangers, you've seen what they've done. I randomly stumbled across a clip earlier on. You know, I was going through social media earlier today, and I come through. It must have been a few years back, but it was Celtic versus Man City in the Champions League. It finished 3-3, and I only saw bits of the game from the Man City team. But they had Fernandinho playing, David Silva playing, Aguero playing, Sterling playing, and Celtic went in front 3 times. Man City had to keep coming back.
Yeah. There is that element, no, you know, they've always had that. They've had big nights at Parkhead, under the lights, under the floodlights. It's always been televised. They've had Barcelona, PSG, Juventus, and I think when you consistently play teams at that level every single year, Matt, that starts to, it just rubs off, and it starts to get, you know, you're going to be up for it. You're going to be competitive and all that sort of stuff. What you didn't hear from Paul was that actually, if you even win the Scottish League now, you don't qualify automatically for the Champions League.
Wow!
You have to go through qualifying. So Celtic are having to go through 3. They have to go through. Celtic, who finished second, are going through 3 qualifying rounds, and Rangers, I don't know if he said it was 2 or 1 qualifying round, but there's definitely a qualifying round for the champions of Scotland as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Listen, I'm not going to go through starting lineups. I just think we're going to see a big mismatch of teams. But do you think we're going to start seeing something closer to what we may see in the season coming ahead?
Yes and no. I still think, because I'm assuming that I don't think Rice is back yet. Souček or Soufal. I don't think either of them three are back. I don't think Yarmolenko's back, although I'm not really,
Yarmolenko is back in London. I don't know if he's back in training.
Yeah, I think he's like half out the door anyway. So
yeah.
But I think you'll see. I mean, I count Ben Johnson as part of the first team, so I think we should see something more, especially as we've seen a couple of the under-23s have played down in Southend today. I think we might see something closer to a proper starting 11. I know Fabianski's back in training, so he could start, or could have Randolph and he could come in for the second half.
Yeah.
Johnson's about, Fredericks. So if they don't want to start Creswell again and save him, they could put Johnson back on the left-hand side again. Ogbona's in training. Diop's in training. Obviously, Winston Reid's at the Olympics.
And they won today, 1-0. Might I add, he captained New Zealand into it, and apparently I never got to see the game, but apparently he played very, very, very well. And West Ham were all over his Instagram account. I wonder if there's something there. I wonder if we're about to see the return, the comeback.
Surprise me. He's still got about 3 years on his contract, does he not? It's because we gave him like a 7-year contract or something.
Yeah.
And Balbuena's gone. And Balbuena was really like the rotation backup option.
Yeah.
So if they want to save some money, it would not surprise me if he goes, you can just slot him for Balbuena's spot.
There you go, Winston Reid. Could you imagine he made the big comeback? Could you imagine?
Honestly, if we barely seem to be spending money as it is, but if he did, for instance, we did splash 25 million on Pereira, and then we found out in the last week of the window that you could have Lingard 15 million because he's not playing at Man United and he wants to go, and we haven't bought a centre back, and he's trying to buy Kaluta car from Marseille, for instance, and it was like, it's 15 million. Oh, but I could get Lingard. Wouldn't surprise me if he went, we'll take Lingard and Ogbonna and Diop can be the starting pair again, and Ogbonna and Dawson, and Winston Reid can come back in as that fourth choice because he could do it. We've seen, it looks like he's finally passed. Let's not forget, it was the reason he's not been playing was the injuries.
Yeah, he
had that horrible injury at Swansea, and it basically killed about 2 years of his career.
Yep.
He went down to Brentford, got the fitness, and he's back again.
Well, he played consistently in America. He played consistently within reason at Brentford. He's playing at the Olympics. I think we've actually saw a consistent Winston Reid since lockdown? Really, since lockdown left, and so it'll be interesting.
It's done him well.
Yeah, absolutely. It really has. Right. Okay. Last couple of questions then. Ben Johnson, everyone's going on about him. What do you think about his preseason so far, and obviously his good game? And finally, we're only on 62 likes, 62 thumbs up. There's over 100 people watching. I really need you to go across and hit that thumbs up right there. Where is it? Right down there, I think it is. It's just a little thumbs up. It looks like that.
Click. Single click.
Just click it. You just touch it. Just touch it. That's all you do. Just touch it. And if you are new around here, go and click that subscribe button as well. It really does help the channel out. So please do it. Yes, Ben Johnson, mate.
He looks comfortable. Like I don't mean that as a disservice. Like sometimes when a kid comes into a team, like you can see they look out of depth. Like even in like the Friends Get Ready. Like Oko Flex did some good stuff, but he made a lot of backwards passing, a lot of giving away balls. Whereas Johnson come in, and even when he came in right back at the start of lockdown the first time, when he was forced to play against, was it Man City at left back for his debut because we didn't have anyone else to play, and he looked solid then. And now we're seeing that not only has he got the defensive nous, but the thing we all saw from when he was in the under-23 is that ability to go forward. And he's starting to take people on. He's putting that final ball in. It looks really promising. And again, that could be another place where they go, from the way he's played, Fredericks will possibly have to be worried. Because we all know, look, Soufal's number one. But Johnson, even at the young age that he's at, because he's had that Premier League experience and the way he's playing now, he's pushing Fredericks. for that spot. His defensive ability and his final ball at the moment look better than Frederick's. Frederick's just has that thing you can't train, just lightning pace.
Yep,
But
absolutely.
I think it could be a big season for him.
Let's jump into the comments. There's loads of comments. So listen, situation tomorrow is I'm not 100% sure if I'm fully available for the watch along. I will try and watch the game. I'm isolating just now, but I'm going to throw Matt well under the bus right now. Matt, are you around tomorrow?
It's 50-50.
You are.
Honestly, it depends what time I get out of work.
I'm throwing him right under the bus. Everyone who's watching, Matt's always a bit worried about. I'm going to throw you under the bus, mate. I'm going to throw you under the bus in front of 100 people, a ton of people. We ready for this? Matt's worried that he just can't do the watch-alongs himself, and I've said he's fine. Everyone loves him. Everyone loves him.
Honestly,
so
tomorrow,
if you want a watch, hold on a minute. If you want a watch-along and you want Matt to do a watch-along tomorrow in Matchday Live with Celtic, comment right now and let us know, and let's force him into doing it.
I mean, it'd be a bit of a struggle for me to do it from work, mate. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, you just leave work early. You'll be fine, mate. There's a free stream in the West Ham season ticket holders. There certainly is.
Yeah, I got that email earlier. I'll be honest. This is the only thing I was going to say. You were talking about when we done you done the last game, and they're two big clubs. I know it's only a friendly, but I'm genuinely surprised that no one's picked up on it. Like, considering Sky Sports normally crank out these. They have these foreign fake trophies, don't they? Like, the Europe with like 4 or 5 teams playing, 6 teams playing it. I'm genuinely surprised that no one's gone, we'll show this on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Tommy Dobinson, what minute we didn't see nothing on the West Ham page. I think that's regarding to the game we mentioned earlier on. Neil from Down Under, hope you're well. I have an interest in Celtic now because of their manager, Postecoglou, who's a successful Australian manager, and I hope he does really well there. Just seen we beat Southend 5-1. Absolutely. Stato keeps slipping into relegation mode, James Bong. He does. Mate, Helen Ludlow, will Fab, Yarmo, Suchek, Sufal and Rice be back for the game? They will not. Joel led Jay. I was at the game in 2000, so was I. For some reason, I thought it was 2005. Sat in a Celtic end with a couple of mates. I did. I sat there with my family. The game is starting tomorrow at 3 o'clock kickoff. Jordan, have you seen the Hammers Chat video about Rice wanting to leave the club? Don't believe it. I think there's an element of the following, right, when it comes to Rice. And I don't know, mate. I just don't want to keep going on about the Rice situation. I mean, Rice is still off, mate. He's still on holiday.
Here's what I believe, right? Is he wants more money, and he wants to be the highest player at the club, which he hands down deserves to be. He is now the captain, and he is the best player. So they should therefore, and I'm not being funny, you can't go around and parade him as like he's a £100 million player, and then have like half a squad and more money than him.
Yeah.
If he's your £100 million player, you've got to pay him the money.
Mate, it's typical of the fan base though, getting carried away with Twitter and an ITK, and we have a responsibility for everyone that's watching. I said this last night as well. We have a responsibility as a channel, who report news, to make sure we're clear, concise, straight to the point, and not making up.
But this is rumours.
Crap, it's just rumours that are kicking about, and that's why when we do our transfer shows and we say we are not saying we're signing this guy, we are putting two and two together and thinking or this or that. And even when I get the team news 15 minutes before everyone else, I still say, don't I, Matt? I still say we are not guaranteeing that this is a lineup. We have to wait till it's officially put out. And even when it is put out, sometimes the club get it wrong, as we have realised over the pre-season, which is a bit of a joke. So so I don't know. We'll wait and see.
Is he frustrated? He could be. I mean, the rumor is that he was promised to buy players and we haven't.
Yeah, but you know what, mate? He's on holiday.
This is the thing, though.
So if he's on holiday, are you telling me he's sitting there looking at Sky Sports News every day, waiting for West Ham to sign players? I don't doubt for a second, mate. He's a young lad who's enjoying himself after an intense summer, after actually probably an intense year of playing solid football without a break. So I don't doubt for a second he's looking for more money. I don't doubt for a second he's looking to be the big dog at West Ham,
which he deserves.
Because he is the best player at West Ham by no means. So, but I certainly don't think he's sitting there and discussing with his agent unless he wants the move. But we'll see. I mean, I would love for him, and I think it's wise for him to stick by West Ham for this season.
Let's not forget the flip side is that there's been nothing for him. No one's come in. This is what everyone's forgetting.
And we're valuing him at a certain amount of money that no one's going to pay.
No, he's got 4 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
So he's not going to go anywhere, especially if no one actually puts in the inquiry or a bid. I wouldn't worry about that. No one's going to do it as well at that price, which is the point. I see a lot of things on Twitter about, West Ham are really over, 60 million's fair, 80 million, 100 million's not what it's overpriced. It's not worth that. It's like, well, that's the point.
Yeah.
You don't want to sell someone. You put a ridiculous price on and say, if someone tried to buy your house tomorrow, you was like, I don't want to sell my house. I want your house. Pay me $100,000 over the house price of the house. You can have it.
Yeah. It's a little bit like here, Tony is staying at Brentford, and apparently Brentford are putting a £40 million price tag on him. And if they are, no one's going to go out there and bid that money for him. So
no, and that's the point, because they don't want to lose him.
Exactly. So he doesn't have to go and sign a new contract. He's just not.
Much like when Man United paid 80 million for Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
He was worth about 45, if that, at the going rate. But Leicester said, if you want him, you can pay 80 million for him. And Man United paid it. Well, there you go.
Mickey, explain to us just very briefly, if you can, if you get a chance, that we're hearing so many different things and different reports about him. A club in a different countries looking at bidding for him.
That's not going to happen. I read that.
No, I know, but I mean, they may pay big bucks, all that.
No,
stuff.
It wasn't big bucks. That was the thing.
Oh,
His
right,
team in Saudi Arabia put in an offer for him about 7 million. I thought, Jesus, even Sullivan wouldn't be that stupid.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Moyes is known for taking his time over transfers, nothing to do with the owners, Gareth Thomas. Yeah, and I do believe you, to be honest, I really do. I mean, I'd be disappointed to think that Moyes has said, we want this guy, and Sullivan goes and does something. I mean, we had someone on the chat the other night saying we've missed out on so many targets already, but we don't know if we have, Matt.
No. And I had a discussion with someone on Twitter yesterday because they were losing the rag over the fact that we didn't get that kid from Rangers.
Yeah.
Because he went out and loaned Dunfermline. And I was like, for one, it's just a kid, and I'm not being funny. Our record of bringing in kids from other, I mean, it might change this year because it looks like the kids we've brought in have done well. But for one, he's a kid we're going to bring in that, you go back history of kids we brought in, Silva, Tony Martinez, there was Dobson. We haven't had a good history of doing it. And he's like, it would be a kid for 3-4 years down the line. I'm not going to get worried about not buying a kid for £1 million from 3-4 years down the line. And as you said, Moyes always does this. And you know what? I do not mind it. Shall we remind everyone that we've got a list of 50 centre forwards that Sullivan bought that didn't work?
Yeah.
The only 3 guys that scored goals in them 50 players was pretty much Sacco, Carroll, and Arnautovic. And Arnautovic wasn't bought as a centre forward. So if Moyes wants to take his time and bring in 4 players during the window, but he's 4 players he actually wants, well, fine. He's earned the right to do that.
Yeah. See, everyone's wanting you to do it. Look, there you go. Everyone's, of course we do it. Matt is a legend. Peer pressure is a bad thing, but do it. Matt, there you go. Do it. Matt's watch-alongs are wonderful. There you go, mate. That's you done. All said and done. He ain't never missing Nobles last season. I don't know who we're talking about. Oh, Rice.
Probably Rice, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. Irons United, you always give your honest opinions and don't really entertain the BS. Absolutely. Happy Amaret, I agree. Anton Rice is away on holidays. Wait till he gets back to see where he stands with it. Absolutely. Need help, guys? Question: can you buy tickets to watch academy matches at the Little Heath Ground Sports Ground tomorrow? I'm assuming you can buy tickets on the doors.
Over my head. No idea.
Yeah. Lee Vassallo, come on, lads, look at yesterday with the Kane saga. Then today, both clubs deny talks. Don't look into anything. I agree with you completely.
Thing is, if he comes back and he says he wants to go, I've got no issue with it either. Like, he's just been away on international duty with England. They finished with the runners-up in the Euros, and he's literally played in the team.
Go on, Robbie yourself, son. Who? I'm only joking. Joan, don't know if you've said this, but there's a chain of clubs waiting to do transfers, and we are in the queue. Joan, I actually think you have hit the nail on the head. Honestly, she has hit the nail on the head with that. There is a chain of clubs waiting to do transfers, and we are certainly in that queue. As soon as one does it,
everything else tumbles.
It's going to spiral out of control. Absolutely. Just do it, Matt. That brings us to the end of the comments. I mean, listen, before we go, though, Matt, I'm refusing to go until we get 100. Let me have a look and see where we're at.
If you're a season ticket holder, you should have got an email.
Yes, you should have got.
Afternoon.
Yeah, and it is on Premier Sports as well.
I think
Please,
the club, you
though-
have to register. I already have an account with the club. It doesn't have to register again. They're giving you a code for it.
Yeah.
I don't really understand.
We need 21 more thumbs up, people. If you are watching, we need 21 more thumbs up to hit that 100 target. So please go and do that just now. We can't show the game tomorrow. Before you know, we can't show the game tomorrow because it is being purchased by the rights
shown
of
on
Premier
TV.
Sports
Yeah.
and shown on TV, etc. So we won't be doing the preseason friendly against Celtic, but we will try and do a watch along if we can. We need another 20. We need another 18 thumbs up, people. Please give us another thumbs up. 18 more people who are watching. We've got over 20 people watching. Let's see this here, James. Actually, Matt and Peach did a second half of Matchday Live last season, and they were brilliant. Yeah, that was a bit wild, wasn't it, Matt?
As an England watch along, yeah.
You couldn't get off. You could not get off. We need another 15 thumbs up. That's all we need. Another 15 thumbs up. Last couple of points before we go and get your predictions in as well. Matt, what is your predictions for the game tomorrow? 15 more thumbs up, though. So hit that thumbs up right now. Go, Matt, prediction tomorrow.
Oh, it'll be like a 2-2.
Desmond.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I think there's fans in the ground, so both teams are going to want to entertain because, look, it's that, and that, don't forget, this could be the biggest crowd West Ham have played in front of in about 18 months. You know, we had the home game against Southampton, which was like Bowen's first goal. That's how far back we got to go. Then we played Arsenal. I think we drew or lost when we should have won. Then we went into lockdown. And even that game, I think we played at home against Man United last season, wasn't that full. When it like only about, was it 8,000 people or something? The lucky ones. And then the last home game of the season, I don't think that was that high either. This is the biggest game they've played. I think both teams are going to go out to attack, but it's not going to be nasty. It is for fitness and, well, I'd say normally for fitness and blending new players in, which Celtic might do. We won't, because we haven't got anyone. So for us, it's just fitness. So, yeah, I'll give it a 2-2.
Yeah, absolutely. Desmond Lee is saying 2-1 West Ham. We only need 6 more thumbs up, people. That is all we need to hit that 100 mark. And that will be great for the Friday evening show that we've done, the preview of the Celtic West Ham game. 2 more likes and then we're done for the show. And that would be amazing. So I'm going to give you a prediction. Here we go. 1-1.
Ooh, he's going for a slow scoring draw.
Yeah, low scoring draw. I think we're just going to see, Paul made the valid point that they've got a Champions League qualifier. They drew the first leg of the game last Wednesday. They're playing another Champions League game the following Wednesday. So I think there's going to be a real feel about a pre-season friendly here. I think we're going to see a lot of changes between the both clubs. I think Celtic said they pulled up with a few injuries in the last couple of games. I thought we would see the closest to what we would start to see for the new season coming up, but we've still got loads of players that aren't around. And like you said,
three key players.
Yeah, we've got a lot of players that need a bit of game time as well. So I think that will be interesting. So it's got the potential to be a kind of low scoring game, but hopefully it's an entertaining game. I'm gutted, mate. I'm not going. I'm gutted. I mean, I know I go to many games in the season, but it's not very often the team come to your doorstep, literally on your doorstep, and you can't go just because of isolation. But that's just the way nature is. Yeah, not out of the house, mate. Next Thursday I am, so we'll have to wait for it. But listen, it's been absolutely fantastic to have everyone watching with us. We are absolutely delighted to, like I said, hit the 7,000 subscriber mark. We've got loads of plans coming for, maybe you'll hear of them in the next couple of weeks. Everything is literally on the table and we're in discussions and negotiations with a few things, but we'll keep them coming to you as quickly as we can in preparation for the new season. It's going to be good that we are back at games as well. And hopefully I'll be down for a game reasonably soon. That's the plan. And it'll be exciting. So, like I said, thank you for watching. Matt, pleasure for joining us again. We'll hopefully see you tomorrow for the Matchday Live. If we can do it, we'll keep you entertained. We'll keep you up to date with what we're doing and we'll go from there. But thanks for joining us. Subscribe, like, and comment, and come on, you Irons. See you later.